Hopefully you won't be.
Hello, beautiful souls. Hello, hello. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for we see that we have 3 people waiting. So thank you. We're like a little bit late, but not much. And I'm so happy and excited for my friend. I'm here with Melissa. She's amazing, beautiful soul. I love her. The way we actually met is through Evan's Carmichael channel. And shout out to Evan and congratulations, 1 million subscribers. And we were both supportive of his channel. We were watching, we were commenting, and then eventually developed through Lily. So Lily was started coaching sessions on his channel. So she was coaching me, she was coaching Melissa. We started doing lives. So I was doing on my channel, Melissa was doing her channel, and then we got to this idea, like, why just don't we do live, like 2 of us? Because I love her channel, she's watching my channel, she's supporting me. Melissa, thank you so much. She's like, my mom and Melissa are my biggest fans. Like they're my biggest supporters. Like they're commenting, they're giving me feedback and love, and I'm so happy to present you the Melissa now. I want you to get to know her better because she's really amazing, and you need to check her channel. I'll link it down below already. It's unbelievable, and the value you will get from it is just going to be a life-changing. And we're going to talk just about a little fraction of it here. But before that, I just want to let Melissa say hi to you, my beautiful souls.
Hello, beautiful souls. I'm so happy to be here. And first of all, I want to thank you, Aleksandra, for welcoming me on this channel and for giving me such a beautiful introduction. And she's right, we have connected through Evan Carmichael and Lily Ma, which are 2 amazing people, and we're so lucky to have connected through them. And I like to practice some mindfulness on my channel, and I love meditation also. And like Aleksandra, I like vegan food. So you can see how we connected. And I just want to say that I'm a big fan of Aleksandra, and she's an amazing content creator, and her message is so beautiful with each video. I just want to thank you, Aleksandra.
Thank you, Melissa. Look at all this love. Oh my God. So you mentioned that your channel is about mindfulness and meditation. That would be the first thing that people notice. Every video you create is you're coming from the point of presence, and you're talking about mindfulness a lot. So I relate to that also. And I want to ask you how you started your mindfulness journey and why it's important for us to be mindful.
Well, it all started about 2000, and I think it was 2008. Or even towards the end of 2007. What actually happened was I fell into it by total accident. I got very sick. I was working full-time at the time. I was doing a lot of overtime also. And my daughter was young, and I was married, and I'd left my hometown. I'd moved to where I'm living now, Cork, which is a city here in Ireland. And I just got very sick anyway. It was a very deep kind of lung infection at the time. So I ended up staying off work for about a week and a half. And I really didn't know what to do with myself. I'm the type of person, I like to be doing something all the time. And to be rested, you know, I just really was something new to me. And I just started to watch TV, you know, that like what a lot of people do when they're sick or they have to relax, they usually distract themselves. So that's what I was trying to do. And I came across this amazing yoga teacher, and she was teaching Kundalini yoga at the time. And the name of the practice was Detox and De-Stress. So I started to watch her practice. And at the end of the practice, she was doing meditation. So after about 2 days from watching it, I started to do it myself. I said, okay, let's try this. And she was saying through it that it was very good for lung health and overall good health in the body. So I said, okay, if this is going to get me back to work quicker and if I'm going to feel rejuvenated, I'm going to give it a go. So I started to practice the yoga. And what I really found the yoga was amazing, but what I really enjoyed was the meditation at the end of it. And at the time, it was Deepak Chopra that was doing the meditation for her on her channel. So I didn't know who he was. I didn't know who she was, but I just knew that this was something I needed to do a bit more of. So it kind of started from there. And so I kept the practice up. And I still have that DVD and I still like to use it. And then obviously I bought more DVDs and I started to practice yoga outside of my home. Also, but I found for me practicing at home just suited my lifestyle better. As I had said earlier, I was very busy. I had a child, a husband, and I was working a lot of overtime. So I just continued with the practice. And then from there, I started to read more on it. And then I kind of fell into mindfulness as well. So Thich Nhat Hanh, teachers like that. And then, you know, when you start to get curious and you start to explore and something starts to work for you, you know, obviously you're going to look deeper into it. And what I found was that with the mindfulness, you know, it was just all about awareness. And it finally kind of came to me as well that my life was very fast paced and I wasn't really slowing down in the sense where I was very aware. Like I said at the start, that I turned on the TV to just distract myself, you know. So the more I read, the more I learned that we're all doing that a lot. We distract ourselves a lot. And so it just kind of went from there. And then when I finished that job, I went back and studied for a while. And I actually went back to do massage therapy and beauty therapy. It was body and face. And I was still always very interested in mindfulness also. So I was kind of reading a lot on that. And what I noticed was when I talked to people from doing their makeup or doing facials or practicing massage, that they were feeling amazing at that moment. But it didn't seem to last, especially with friends, we'll say, okay, or family members. You know, the way they open up to you, especially if you're giving a massage to somebody or if you're giving a facial to somebody, they become relaxed and they start to speak and they tell you things, you know, and I give advice and sometimes we go out for a meal and we'd have a good conversation. But what I started to notice was a pattern. You know, you could do somebody's makeup, they could feel good for a while, or you could give somebody a massage, but still they had to go back into their everyday life. And then I started to think more about it, that this is something that more and more people need to practice. They need to understand that they need to know how to become more aware of how they're feeling and to see their life with more clarity. And obviously meditation, which you know all about, Aleksandra. Of course, I was telling you about meditation and about all the amazing books that I read. And like yourself, you know, sometimes you get great feedback and other times people are just so, you know, distracted and so stressed out. And this is the reality, that they can't seem to find a balance. How they can't even perceive it. How am I going to fit this in? So this is where the whole mindfulness approach came from, because I thought, okay, meditation really is the place where we want to get to, okay, peace. And meditating gets us there, okay? So also with mindfulness, it's the same thing, but you don't have to sit, we say, and be still all the time. You can do this while you're maybe washing your dishes. You can just focus on that. And as we know, in this world today, we're stressed out. We have mobile phones, we have emails, we're working, we could have children, and we're really multitasking much or most of the time, you know. And this is where mindfulness can come in. You can start to practice it in different moments of your day where you just focus on one thing. And even when we come to or speak about mindset also, it doesn't matter what way we get there. It's all about just focusing on one thing and doing one thing at a time. And it's amazing how the body becomes more still when you do that. The mind becomes calmer and you have a lot more clarity. So this is why I try to speak about mindfulness, and I'm still learning, you know. It's a long life journey. I think you can never know enough, or you can never know too little, you know. It's all about fitting it into your own lifestyle. So whether you want to do it with meditation, or you want to practice with breath work, or you just want to do it with your children, just to become more aware of your time that you're spending with them, or your partner, or spending time with your friends. You know, it's all about just becoming very aware of the present moment. And I think the most powerful thing we can take from this right now is the point of power is always in the present moment. And I think that when you're in meditation, you know, and this is the feeling that you have. And it's only, you know, it's like a blink of an eye. It's not something we experience on an ongoing basis. Okay, so I just want to put that out there too. I don't want to tell people that I'm walking around mindful 24 hours a day. If I was doing that, then I think I'd be sitting near Thich Nhat Hanh or somebody like that. I'm not a monk, I'm a human being, you know, but I'm trying. I want to become a better person, and I want to share that with other people that I think could, you know, benefit from it, because it can stretch, you know, to so many people. And I see a big need for it in, you know, in my own community, in my own city, in my own country, but not only here in the world. You know, I think that it's something that we can bring into schools. I hope in the future that children can start to learn to practice mindfulness, be introduced to meditation, or at least be able to focus on one thing at a time, you know, especially when children have exams, you know, and all. They should have a way that they can calm down. And especially the youth today, they're much more busier than we were, you know, as children. We didn't have all this technology. And to be honest with you, in my home, our television, we only had 2 channels here in Ireland. So if there's anybody watching that can relate to that, I'm 41 years old, so I'm going back a bit. But we didn't have the satellite. We didn't have MTV. We didn't have all this distraction, you know. So I think, to be honest about it, it's more needed now than ever. And this was the reason I opened my YouTube channel. I love food, I love meditation, but I have to say my passion is mindfulness. And not only that, I think it can also help youths that, you know, that fall away, you know, that fall into the wrong way or follow the wrong road, you know, maybe drug awareness as well, maybe bring it into centers like that. You know, like make it in with a 12-step program, you know, for everybody. I think everybody can benefit from it. You know, of course, every person has to decide themselves when they're ready. But I think if there was a program there for people to just be introduced to it and to be able to make the decision, the world would be a better place, you know. And because I think becoming aware of how we're feeling, you know, how we're responding to life, more importantly, because most of the time we're so caught up in stress and emotion, we're reacting. And I think this is not the way to be, you know. And obviously, as I said, we can't do this 24 hours a day, but the more we practice it, the more we can catch ourselves. So I hope that explains it a little bit more, Aleksandra.
That was beautiful, Melissa. Thank you. I love that story. I love story how you discover what is your passion and what you want to do in life by just following your intuition and starting with yoga, and then figure out, oh, it's doing only yoga is not my thing. Oh, what is about this? What is about meditation? Oh, look at this mindfulness. So where is this coming from? And you start reading and researching and connecting all this together and finding your own mindfulness practice. It's just amazing. And now that you're doing on your channel and you're sharing some very amazing advices in every one of your videos and small things that people can implement in their lives to become more mindful, because it's really necessary, because we are rushing through our days and we are not, like, sometimes people don't remember like what happened in the morning, right? Like, how was your morning? Well, it was fine. Like, what happened? Like, tell me some details. Well, I don't know, it was fine. Like, people just forget about their day the same day, right? And we are doing things so unconsciously. And I love what you do, and I love that people gonna find out about you. And I'm very, very happy that I'm your friend and that we are connected here, and that we are changing the world together. So thank you for that. And I wanna ask you, because, and I think it's important for us to talk about mindfulness in meditation, because people have this different perspective about meditation. And what you think is the biggest difference between mindfulness and meditation? Is it the same, or is there is a difference? And also, how someone can find their own practice to fit their busy life, because we didn't mention, but you have 3 kids, right? So you have a husband, you have 3 kids, you have all these obligations and all these duties during the day, but you still find time to be mindful, to practice mindfulness, and also to film videos about it and help others find their mindfulness practice as well. So you're doing so much, and there could easily be your excuse, you know, I have all these things, I have children, I have no time, favorite excuse. But you didn't. And let's talk about it, and tell us how you find balance in your life with mindfulness.
Well, first of all, you know, I think not only for me, you know what I mean, I think that most people find it very difficult to be able to find time to wind down. So mindfulness is a way that I find, oh, sorry, you asked first, what's the difference? Is there any difference between meditation and mindfulness? Well, like I said earlier, meditation is the word we'll say is another word for peace, okay? And some people are very lucky. They can just sit on a pillow, or they can go outside in nature. And I know you, Aleksandra, you've found it very quickly. Like you can do meditation still without even to be guided. You know, some people, it just naturally happens, you know, they just awake to it and they experience this amazing feeling and they keep going with it, like you, Aleksandra, every day. And you know, I really, really admire you for that. But the truth is, for me personally, when I met so many people, because I was wondering, why is it working for me and it's not working for them? And then, because I started to study it, I started to realize, and it was actually from a teacher, and he was explaining about meditation and meditating. You know, he was saying the difference. Like, we want to be in meditation, but to get there, we are meditating. You know, we have to meditate or find our way to get there. So the way he said it, there's a difference even in the word. So like I said, like for you, it was very easy. You were in meditation, and I'm going to bring it back to the word peace. This is what we all want. We want that relaxation, that inner peace, okay? You find that through meditation, or you may find that with your partner when you sit together and you have an amazing conversation, all right? And sometimes we can have that with our children, and we can only get glimpses of it at a time. So this is kind of like bringing mindfulness into it without sitting on the cushion. So what I'm trying to say here is try to bring your awareness to your everyday moments, simple things like that, even having your meal. You know, it can be an act of meditation, an act of peace, you know. So that's what people are looking for, you know, really. If you ask any person, what do you really want? They're going to say happiness, okay? Some people might say money and a big car, but once you get all that, what do you really want? You want to be happy, you know, and you want peace, more importantly. I think for me at this age, that's all I want is peace, you know. And I know that the only way I can get that is if I meditate or if I practice mindfulness, you know. So when I'm being mindful, it's sometimes when I'm doing my dishes even, you know, I'll just try and focus on that. What does the water feel like on my hands? You know, is it hot? Is it cold? You know, just simple things, eating my breakfast, becoming more aware of how it's feeling in my body. You know, do I feel good after it? Do I feel too full? Do I feel energized? And it's also a great way to start to get in touch with what you love and what you don't, you know, because the amazing thing I found from practicing mindfulness was I was doing a lot of things unconsciously, you know, and when you start to practice, when you start to put awareness into each little thing, you start to notice things like there was perfumes I had on my dressing table that I had been gifted, you know, and when I started to smell them mindfully, and the different scents, I could really feel the ones that I didn't like and the ones I loved. So even down to simple things like that. And for me, that's all meditation, you know, because it's like I'm taking the time to become aware of even the simplest things. And with 3 kids, the first thing I do in the morning, because I can't meditate in the morning, obviously, I could have my daughter jumping on my bed or my son. So the first thing I do is I just start with the breath. And this is something that is taught in meditation and in mindfulness, you know, that is the simplest way to kind of get into your day and create space for yourself, you know, before all that chatter comes into your head. And this was something I'd asked on my channel in the last video. I'd said, when you wake up in the morning, just become aware first of what is the first thing you think of when you wake up. Are you thinking about you have to run out the door to work? Are you thinking about you have to make your breakfast? Are you thinking about I have to hurry up and get dressed, or I have to jump in the shower? You know, just become aware of it first. And I think first thing in the morning is the best time to catch yourself. Just by promising yourself this evening that when I wake up in the morning, I'm going to try and just become aware. And don't, you know, start stressing yourself out about it. Just observe it, you know, just say, okay, this is what I'm thinking about. I started thinking about this and that and the other. And instead of that, what I tried to do is first thing when I wake up in the morning, and it wasn't easy the first 5 or 6 times. It was something I had to continue to remind myself. I actually had a label on my wall, breathe, right in front of me, you know, so that when I opened my eyes, I could see it, you know, to remind myself. And I'm big into affirmations and reminders. I like reminders, you know. So I get up in the morning, basically, I open my eyes, and whether the kids are on the bed or they're running around the room, you know, I see that word and I just take a deep breath through the nose and I count to 4. I hold it and I count to 4 in my mind and I release it. And then when I do that, it creates the space for me to just see things clearly, you know. It's like I'm not letting all the thoughts of the day take over, because this is reality. Even when you practice mindfulness, you're still going to have all the same, because we're all human, you know. We're going to have all the same thoughts, negative, positive, all the chores we have to do in the day, you know. So it's all about, again, just putting a focus, you know what I mean, on your awareness. And for me, that's how it works. First thing in the morning, I just start with the breath. And for anybody else out there who has children, I think this is an amazing way to start the day, is to just focus on your own breath and then get up and, you know, if you have to take a shower, try and practice there. Just become aware of the water hitting your skin, you know, simple things like that. But, and then you see, if you practice it in little ways like that, then when you go into work as well, you know, you'll be able to focus better. You'll be able to distinguish, okay, I'm aware of the work I don't want to do first, you know. These are the kind of things that start propping up. You start to notice a lot of things that you don't feel good about and that you feel great about. And what you start to do is you mindfully start to do the things that you want to put off first, because you know how precious your time is and you want to have the rest of your day doing the things that you love. So for me, it was all these little things that make such a difference, you know. And that's why I think mindfulness is for every person, you know, and I think every walk of life. So I hope that answers your question a little bit more.
Yes.
And
I love, sorry, continue. Sorry, I interrupted.
you know, and for, you know, for busy moms, you know, I think it's a priority, because if you have 3 children and you're trying to, you know, cook, and you're trying to clean the home and spend time with them, you know, you have to be able to be aware, you know, you have to be able to sit with your children and really be there with them, because they grow so quickly, you know. And I know that from my first child, because my eldest child is 15, you know, so I remember how quickly she grew. And this time I just feel like that, you know, I'm enjoying it much more, because I'm more aware, you know, I'm at home with them and I'm spending time with them. I'm really hearing what they're saying. And mindfulness as well is all about listening. Are you really listening, you know, to yourself and to others around you? And I think it's always best to start with ourselves, start to become aware of how we're feeling, you know, and how we're responding to life, you know,
Oh, I
before
love that.
we start sharing it with others. Because if we can't get a hold of it ourselves, then we're not really great with the people around us also, you know. So mindfulness for me has worked like that, you know what I mean? It's made me more aware of the person that I am, you know, and also you start to become aware of the distractions you create for yourself, you know.
And
Like,
what is your advice, like when people find that distractions, when they become a little more aware and mindful, and they see, oh, this is all the distractions that I'm having, or this is the negative feeling that I'm having that like ruin my day, what they should do to help them overcome that or heal that negative chatter inside? What would be your advice on that?
well, I think, you know, for me, it's all about just becoming aware of it. I think once you're aware of it, because the problem is most of us are not, you know, we think it's the norm to be distracted.
Yeah.
So just by being aware is the first step, you know. And obviously, then if you know that something is distracting you, and the thing is that many people have different distractions. I suppose we better elaborate on it as well. Like for one person, it could be social media. Another person, it could be just playing with their phone all day with Snapchat or whatever. And then another person, it could be drinking every evening, you know. Another person, it could be drug addiction. Another person, it could be overeating. Okay, so like if you think about it, distraction can come in many forms, and then, you know, and it can be in addiction also, you know. So I think becoming aware is the first step, you know, and then obviously after that, you have to start to think about what is the major distraction. And you know, you always can start with the smaller distractions. If it's something like that, you're supposed to be speaking to your partner and you're looking at your phone all the time, you know, and or if you're with your partner and you're speaking to them and you feel like they're looking at their phone all the time. And I think this is realistic, you know, these things happen. To just try to practice, you know, without saying it to your partner, put down your phone and actually give them your presence, you know, your full on listening, you know, response, you know, responding, not just reacting. Oh, you know, look at the phone. I'll talk to you in a second. Oh, what? You know, and this is the reality. This is how we act. You know, I'm guilty too. We're all like this, you know. And what's happening is we're losing connection. You know, we have so much connection, and it's amazing the way me and you, Aleksandra, are able to connect here right now. Through Hangouts, through YouTube, you know what I mean? But connection is important when we're in a room together, you know, with our children, with our husbands, wife, you know, family. And I think this is what's happening with people. They're becoming more disconnected, you know, and all these distractions then on top of it, you know, between the mobile phones. And then it could be addictions also. Some people could, like in Ireland, the pub is a big tradition here, you know, we call it a tradition. But the truth about it is, you know, that people, you know, they get addicted, you know, they go there a lot, and it's a distraction also, you know, from the stress of the day. They numb themselves, you know, not just here. I'm sure all over the world there's different, you know, places or drug of choice, you know. But and so this is also why I became very aware of that, you know, because I know I'm living in a culture where it's normal to numb yourself. It's our culture, we tell
Yes.
people, you know. And I married a Russian man, so, you know, when we met each other, that was his culture. You know? And the funny thing is now, none of us are, well, I could have a drink maybe now or then. I can't remember the last time, but my husband, he doesn't drink either. You know, we both chose just this, that was not the lifestyle for us, you know. At different times, you know what I mean? But I can see how people can use it, you know, because, you know, when you go out and you're socially connecting with people, it's great, because these days when you're at home, you're not really connecting with your family, you know, and then you have all these drinks and you're out socially, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's amazing if you're doing it for the right reasons. And it's the same with the internet and with your phone. But if it's becoming an addiction and you're not aware of it, you know, because the world is so beautiful, there's so much more to life. That's what I've learned. And it's only now I'm starting to really understand that, you know, and it took years to understand that. There's so much, you know, to do, to see. There's so many amazing people, you know, the way we are connecting here. And what's the point distracting ourselves watching a series on TV, you know? Yes, it's good to do, to unwind. But, you know, if you're using that all the time, you know, or if you're just watching TV all the time, or if you're just on your phone all the time, then you're not really living for yourself, you know? You're just watching. You're not really aware. And then you're wondering why you're depressed and why you're not feeling your best, you know, because you're, you know, it's very important that people start to realize that you have to think for yourself and become aware. And really, it's the peace is there. You know, we really don't need all these things. We don't need too much, you know, once we actually know how to become still and just, you know, realize that it's all there, it's all in us, like what many great people said. And I'm still just realizing all that myself, to be honest. And I'm sure for you, Aleksandra, you're still learning, you know?
Yes, I think it's the ever learning process. It's not like you have this 30 days course and now you're all enlightened and that you figure everything out, right? So I love that you're saying it's learning, and it took you years, and that's, everybody should start with that kind of mindset. Like, I'm gonna start practicing mindfulness and I'm gonna start being more aware, and it's just gonna take time, it's gonna take effort, and it's all gonna be worth it. So you just need to start today, now. Do some breathing, like Melissa said, and I think it's changed my life, it changed your life, changed everybody's life who is doing this. So that's why we are talking about it all the time. So you guys can pick up some of this and change your life, be more aware. So thank you, Melissa, for that. And I love how you said breathing, that you're having a breathe in your bed. I think people should have breathe on their dining tables. I know sometimes I do need it, and sometimes, like, my husband and I, we are eating, and I would just say breathe, because we're just eating, like yeah, and then you just like finish all the meal like in 2 minutes, right? And now you like feel full, or you're not feeling good, and like you don't even remember any taste or what you ate. So I think breathe, we should like have all over a house little stickers, breathe.
Absolutely, and it's free, you know. We don't have to go anywhere to breathe. We can breathe everywhere, and it's something we just take for granted, really. And to breathe properly as well, you know what I mean? Just to learn how to actually take a deep breath through the nose, you know. And even my child, she's nearly 3, you know, I teach her already how to breathe, you know. Come on, Rose, breathe, you know, when she's having a tantrum. So even down to wearing your children, you know, it's an amazing thing to be able to practice. But she understands, like, meditation, you know, I put on the music just to relax them. You know what I mean? Before I came on this call, that's what I was doing. She was listening to music. But during the day, when she gets cranky or there's a tantrum, I would say, breathe, Rose, you know, breathe through the nose. And then she kind of comes out of it sometimes, you know. She'll start doing it. But it's very important to breathe. Yeah, definitely.
Beautiful.
You know,
and I could listen.
we're not aware of it. You know, it's something that's there all the time. It's your presence, isn't it? You know, it's your light, it's your presence, your own breath, you know.
Yes.
So
Beautiful.
it's so important. Absolutely.
I love listening to you. I wish we had a little more time. And I just want to ask you one more question since we're talking about food. And I want to ask you, how important is food that we are eating, and how important is connect the food, the body, the mind, spirit, and everything? How are you seeing all that? And tell me a little bit about the food.
Well, my journey with food started a long time also. I became vegetarian when I was about, I think, maybe 11. So, and I was the only one in my family. The idea at the time was because I didn't actually realize that I was eating animals, you know. And I remember I was out for lunch with my mother one day from a school break, and she bought me sausage rolls, you know, and I was asking her, why don't you make these at home? Because she used to bake beautiful bread, and I knew we had sausages in the house because in Ireland, you know, it's a big thing. You always have an Irish breakfast, and pork is a big part of that, and dairy, eggs. And she explained to me anyway, look, it's not actually bread, it's pastry, and it would take time. And I was like, but what's that in the middle? And then she was explaining, that's pork, that's pig. And oh, I didn't realize, you know, and I couldn't understand. And I remember sitting, thinking about it. How can we eat something that's looking at us? Because my grandparents, they used to grow their own food, and there was many farmers living around them. And I never realized, you know, that we were eating animals, you know. And I remember as a child growing up, looking at animals, you know, and having a great love for them. Even, you know, looking at a cow or a pig, you know, the fact that they had eyes, you know, alone for me was like they could see us. How could we do this to them? You know, I was a child, but I was very blessed. You know, I had amazing support, and they understood. You know, they had to obviously help me with vitamins and plenty of salads, and I went from there. And then in 2008, like I said, I fell into yoga. So I had a very good friend who was a very conscious eater also. And she was just after finishing studying. And she introduced me to juicing. So then I started juicing also. And then I fell off that for a while. And I went back to it then again. You know, this is it. Like, you may try something and you may fall off, you know, but that doesn't mean that's it. But I had bought the juicer, so I was like, I'm going to give this another go, you know. And so then I started juicing more frequently. And before I'd had Rose, I have 2 toddlers and 1 teenager, I had been having difficulty, you know. And so I started to research, and I found that maybe raw food and juicing could be a big help, and maca powder. And I was learning all about superfoods, and I just was on this mission to cleanse myself, you know. And I didn't drink. I gave up everything. I just wanted to be clean. I wanted to be a clean house to welcome this baby because I really wanted her, you know. And so I went on a huge cleanse and dropped a lot of weight, as you do when you start to do cleansing or anything else. And I remember my friends and my family, they couldn't believe it. They were like, oh, maybe it's too much weight, you know, and they were worried. But it was completely normal because my body, you know, it had so much toxins in it as well. You know, so all between the toxins and water retention and all the bad food, even though I was vegetarian, I still was eating a lot of fried food and, you know, crisps and chocolate like anybody else. So I kind of quit all that, and I tried to go half raw and vegan. So I was cooking a lot of buckwheat, and that would be my main meal, and I would have a juice with that and a big salad. And I'd have some veg as well. And for breakfast, I used to do maybe chia pudding and juicing. So I continued that for about 6 months, and I fell pregnant. So I was very blessed. So then I continued it. And then I had Rose on the 18th of December, 2014, and I fell pregnant with Aleksandra a couple of months later. So I not only got one, I got two. So that was it for me. I was sold, you know, I knew that everything I was doing was the right thing. You know, I had been trying for a long time and nothing was happening, even though I was vegetarian, you know, but I still wasn't, I wouldn't say a really pure, clean diet, you know, because even if you're a vegetarian is a good way, don't get me wrong, any way is good to start. But for me personally, I still was eating a lot of junk, you know, and that's the truth about it. And
Yes.
then I just started slowly changing, you know, from we'll say salts and checking everything and changing over to organic and more raw carrots and raw beets. And I was grating them and making big, huge salads and introducing them to my husband. And, at Christmas time, I did all my starters were raw and I made all raw cakes. And I remember bringing them to Kerry to my family, you know, and they'd never tasted raw food or hardcore vegan food. And my dad was very traditional. He loves his turkey and his ham, you know, for Christmas. So we still had to do all that, but I still managed to introduce the food and they were impressed with it. So much so that my youngest sister, actually, she's really amazing. She should be here on YouTube. She's fantastic at cooking and, you know, all that vegan and raw diet. But so yeah, that's where it started for me, and I could just see the difference in my skin, and I'd lost all the weight. And you know, with superfoods as well, adding spirulina, you know, all the different things. But I
Yes.
think the most
Learning.
important thing to mention is that we don't really realize how much junk food affects us, you know, until we actually slip away from it. And like you've said before, Aleksandra, on my channel, you can't really switch overnight, you know, because you're going to set yourself up for failure. I think we both know that it's all little steps, you know, and even with yourself, the way you're vegan now, even with your makeup and the cosmetics, you said once you got rid of something, then you purchased vegan, you know, and
Yes.
it's the same with your diet, you know. What I just started to do first was go organic, you know, try to go organic, and even if I wasn't, you know, making, we'll say, juicing out of it or whatever, I just incorporated it into steaming, you know, steaming my vegetables for my kids, making soups, and whatever was left over, I would juice. That's the way I used to do it, you know, just to be affordable as well. Because when you have a family and you say something like juicing and smoothies, people are under the impression straight away that it's very expensive, you know, and especially if you're going organic. But what I found for me was it's totally the opposite. Like what you said, Aleksandra, you might spend a little bit more, but you're going less to the doctor and you feel great from it, you know. And so what I used to do was whatever was left over, I could make soups from that or I put it into juice. So you never throw food away, you know. That's what I find when you're on that kind of a diet. Everything is precious. What can I do with it? You know, you're always creating, you know, as well, and different tasting different things and researching and looking for people like Aleksandra to teach you how to cook different foods. I know that you do your own almond milk.
Oh
I've
yes.
never made my own almond milk. I've only ever purchased it, but I really think that's amazing. And I know you're able to do your own bread as well, which is fantastic. So, you know, it's all about finding your own way, you know, and going with your body as well. Your own, you know, your body's intuitive. It knows what it needs. Like at certain times of the year, like I know in Ireland, our summers and winters, you know, our winters can be very wet and cold. And then our summer, we can still have a bit of rain, but it's obviously warmer. So I do more juicing in the summer and I do more soups through the winter, you know. So I always try and, you know, do it that way. And then obviously huge salads are the way to go. Yeah. What about you, Aleksandra? What would you like to add to that about
I
food?
love
Because I know
I
you're
love
amazing.
everything. I love everything you said, and I totally agree. You don't need to go one day to another. Small steps, and like you said, like being vegan, you can eat deep fried French fries. That's vegan, right? So
Yeah.
is that an answer? Oh, I'm vegan. Is not that the point? Point is healthy eating. like eating something that will really nourish your body. And then when you feel good, when your body is strong and you feel energized, you can do anything. So I think it's very important, and that's why I love that we're talking about it, and we will talk about it more. Being conscious of what you learning about food. That's why I always say, like, learn about the food and what you are putting in your body, what different types of food, what they're doing to your body. So I think it's very important, and that's why we're here to share our experiences. And in the weeks to come, we will talk more about it, and maybe we can even have a specific foods as a topic to introduce to people. That's just an idea. If people are interested.
Absolutely, Aleksandra. I love Aleksandra because she's always got great ideas. I love that about her. Yeah.
Always trying something new and
she's an innovator.
Try to be. And I just want to share, like, the first time that Melissa and I talked, it was around this time, and we just talked for 2 hours or so. It was the first time we were like commenting on each other's channels, but it was the first time that we actually like hang out through the video, and we just talk and talk and talk until the internet broke and disconnect us. And then we were like, whoa, it's been 2 hours, and it was 1 a.m. In Ireland, so we were like, okay, Melissa, go to sleep.
And I was very close to ringing you back, but then I said, oh no, I won't do that for Alyssa.
Because it will be the whole night. If you call me back, we will talk all night.
Absolutely. So interesting. You know, it's beautiful to speak with somebody that, especially you're so young as well, Aleksandra. I'm so honored to be able to speak with somebody in your age group, and that you're spreading this fantastic message, you know, about healthy food, healthy lifestyle. You know, you're really a great example, you know. And if more girls were like you in the world, oh, it'd be an amazing place, you know what I mean? You're really setting a fantastic example. So I really want to thank you for that. And you're so relatable as well. You know, you can connect on any level with any person. And this is an amazing gift to have, you know.
Oh, thank you, Melissa. Thank you. Thank you for your presence, for your mindfulness. Thank you for sharing your advice. My beautiful soul, thank you for watching. We can talk with this forever, but we need to end. And Melissa will be here with us together soon. And we will continue this. We will continue to share our advice and our knowledge and our experiences to help you find the balance in your life. So thank you, Melissa, for being here. Thank you for your time, and thank you for changing the world with me.
Thank you, Aleksandra, and thank you, beautiful souls.
Bye. Thank you. I love you.
Bye-bye.